Hey there! Welcome back to Reddit Dating, best channel for cheating stories. Make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more spicy stories. My 29-year-old female wife says she wants a divorce. We've been together for nearly 8 years. We've been dating for 4 years and were married in October. She claims she is unhappy and does not wish to have children. She doesn't want a family, despite what she's been telling me for years. She wasn't into it when we first started dating, but as we grew older, she would often remark about how excited she was to establish a family with me. She claims that my family, particularly my father, has never truly cared for her. She isn't entirely wrong in this. My father is a bit old school, and the fact that she wears sleeves has irritated him for a long time. But we've been together for so long that time has a way of changing these things. They get along well now and have never had any major disagreements. His attitude shifted when we chose to marry, and it became evident that we would be together for the long term. She claims she has pushed me to change who I am in order for me to be with her. It's difficult for me to put into words exactly what she means. We've both evolved so much in the last decade, and 22-29 is a completely different life. Of course, we both changed. It's what I call maturing. I can only think of minor details, and she is in charge of the cooking, so I don't do much of what I used to enjoy. She only does it because she's a tidy freak, and I evidently don't satisfy her standards, haha. Similarly, I was born in the country and was frequently barefoot in and out of the home all the time, whereas she likes everything in the house to be just so. I suppose you could say I have a bit of a hippie soul and she doesn't. I used to resent it, but now I enjoy having our tidy house, and it's no difficulty for me to appreciate that for her since, even though we have different home standards, I can respect the effort she puts in to keep things that way. She claims she has me whipped into shape, but that is not how I want to live. She claims that because of who she is, she dulls my radiance. It's really difficult to hear that. She is currently unemployed. She left her job during the epidemic in order to supplement her income. She has applied to a lot of various places now that that is finished, but she refuses to go back to her old job and rather to collect unemployment until she finds something she likes. That one is a little tricky for me. She has made more than I have for months doing nothing, and while I understand and even encouraged it at first, the fact that she was unwilling to hustle and even work part-time while applying for jobs irritated me. Missouri is currently open, with limited restrictions, and I have not missed a single day of work during this outbreak. I told her as much, and also informed her what I expected of her as my wife. I expected her to work at least until we had children, and seeing her so unconcerned about it disappointed me. She has never contributed to a savings account. We have separate checking accounts as well as a joint savings account. She has nearly never added to it, and despite earning more than me and being off work for several months, she has not contributed to our savings. She has paid off a couple $1,000 bill, which is fantastic, but given how much she makes, she has basically squandered the money. I simply wasn't expecting it. I got home from work, had a shower, and she summoned me into my room, saying she wasn't pleased and that she wanted it to end. She stated that she was no longer physically longing after me, despite the fact that she loved me. Obviously, this one did a number on my self-esteem. I work out on a regular basis, and while I'm not the fittest I've ever been, I used to be overweight, and I've prioritized my health and bodily fitness over the last decade. I believe the separation was caused by my excessive use of video games. We get out and watch movies or binge-watch series, but we also respect each other's space during the week, and after a long day of work and training, I'd definitely slump down at my computer to game with pals more times than I probably should have. She claims that nerdy things like that don't bother her at all, and it's the stuff I enjoy, so I shouldn't feel obligated to adjust anything for her. She claims it's more complicated than that. I adored her and was overjoyed with our life together. Knowing she wasn't as heartbreaking, I feel responsible for her happiness, and as if I've let her down by not doing my part to emotionally connect. But we frequently make jokes and laugh. We are true buddies. We were planned a trip together soon and had an appointment with our bank this week to discuss first-time home buyer loans. I also believe it could have been a spark. She claims she wants a family and a country house, and even though she said she did, now that we are making those moves, she is getting cold feet and says she doesn't. I'm not sure what counsel to provide because I've never been in this situation before. It feels quite real, and she appears to be really determined. My self-esteem has been shattered, and I feel as though I have failed my marriage. I've always tried to put her first and to love her. Our life was routine and good despite the fact that it was so out of the ordinary. She seemed to care about us. Story number 2. My wife's emotional affair is ready to escalate into a physical one. My wife is 31 years old and I am 32. At this point, we've been married for 4 years. She was visiting her parents at the time of the epidemic, and we both felt that it would be best for her to stay behind rather than jeopardize her health by traveling at that time. We thought she'd just be there for a month or two at most, but she ended up remaining for about 10 months before being permitted to return home. Everyone was only allowed to see a restricted number of people now that it was peak lockdown, and one of her old friends was also detained at his parents' house under the same conditions, away from his wife and 2-year-old child. We have no kids. Furthermore, they grew quite close to one another during those months. Anyway, when she came back, she told me about him, and to be honest, I didn't think much of it. She continued to interact with him on a regular basis, such as every other day or so, and they also frequently spoke on WhatsApp. I saw she was becoming more focused with her phone at times, but when I brought it up, she assured me that it was nothing major, and that I would notice a change in her behavior for a few days and that I would be satisfied. Only 4 to 5 days ago, her friend's wife contacted me on Facebook, claiming that her husband and my wife had been having an emotional affair for quite some time. After that, everything changed. She provided me a number of chats in which they expressed their want to leave us and start a life together, how they believe they made a mistake by marrying to us, and even messages in which they expressed that desire to do things to one another once they are together. Now, his wife contacted me not only to inform me of the affair, but also to inform me that her husband will be in my city for 6 months on a work-related assignment. His wife has been gathering evidence in secret in preparation for their divorce, as this is the second time he has cheated on her, and she believes she has reached the point of no return. I haven't faced my wife yet since, to be honest, I'm not sure how to approach the subject. Do I just ask her? And what happens if she doesn't respond? My main concern is that she will accept, and I don't want to find out the answer to that question until later. As a result, I've been postponing confronting her until the next day. His coming, as my wife informed me this morning, is a pleasant surprise. He has asked for her help in choosing furniture for his home, and she will accompany him to the store on Friday afternoon. I'm worried, but I'm not naive. I'm aware of the events that are most likely to occur that day. The petty part of my brain wants to let her go and then chase them, but doing so would be the end of my marriage. Is my marriage, however, actually worth saving? What if this is all a fantasy for her and she truly does not want to leave me? I honestly don't know what to do next. I genuinely like her, but I'm wondering whether I'm falling in love with a fictitious image of her. I'd appreciate any assistance with this, as I'm unable to communicate with my friends or family owing to a variety of reasons.